Dear YouTube video friends and viewers, please first of all subscribe to my channel, let you know my new videos. In this video, I will talk about Stephen King. Stephen Edwin King, born September 21 in 1947, is an American author of horror, supernatural fiction, suspense, crime, science fiction, and fantasy novels. His books have sold more than 350 million copies, and many have been adapted into films, television series, miniseries, and comic books. King has published 61 novels, including 7 under the pen name Richard Bankman, and now 5 non-fiction books. He has also written approximately 200 short stories, most of which have been published in book collections. King has received Bram Stoker Awards, World Fantasy Awards, and British Fantasy Society Awards. In 2003, the National Book Foundation awarded him the Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters. He has also received awards for his contribution to literature for his entire bibliography, such as the 2004 World Fantasy Award for Life Achievement and the 2007 Grandmaster Award from the Mystery Writers of America. In 2015, he was awarded with the National Medal of Arts from the United States National Endowment for the Arts for his contribution to literature. He has been described as the King of Horror, a play on his surname and reference to his high standing in pop culture. Early life. Stephen King was born in Portland, Maine on September 21 in 1947. His father, Donald Edwin King, was a merchant seaman who was born with the surname Holloway but changed it to King as an adult. King's mother was Nellie Ruth King. His parents were married in Sutton, Maine on July 23 in 1939. Shortly afterwards, they lived with Donald's family in Chicago before moving to Croydon-on-Hudson, New York. King's parents returned to Maine towards the end of the World War II, living in a modest house in Scarborough. When King was 2 years old, his father left the family. His mother raised him and his other older brother David by herself, sometimes under great financial strain. They moved from Scarborough and depended on relatives in Chicago, Croton-on-Hudson, Westerby, Wisconsin, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Malden, Massachusetts, and Stratford, Connecticut. When King was 11, his family moved to Maine, where his mother cared for her parents until their deaths. She then became a caregiver in a local residential facility for the mentally challenged. King was raised Methodist but lost his belief in organized religion while in high school. While no longer religious, he says he chooses to believe in the existence of God. As a child, King apparently witnessed one of his friends being struck and killed by a train, though he has no memory of the event. His family told him that after leaving home to play with the boy, King returned speechless and seemingly in shock. Only later did the family learn of the friend's death. Some commentators have suggested that this event may have psychologically inspired some of King's darker works. But King makes no mention of in his memoir on writing. He related in detail his primary inspiration for writing horror fiction and in his non-fiction Danse Macabre in a chapter titled An Annoying Autobiographical Pause. He compared his uncle's dosing for water using the bark of an apple branch with the sudden realization of what he wanted to for a living. Dan's inspiration occurred while browsing through an attic of his elder brother when King uncovered a paperback version of an H. P. Lovecraft collection of short stories he remembers as The Lurker in the Shadows that had belonged to his father, King told Barnes Noble Studios during in 2009 interview, "I know that I found home when I read that book." King attended Durham Elementary School and graduated from Lisbon Fall High School in Lisbon, Maine in 1966. He displayed an early interest in horror as an avid reader of EC horror comics, including Tales from the Crypt, and he later paid tribute to the comics in his Scrambly for Creep Shop. He began writing for fun while still in school, contributing articles to Days Rag, the newspaper his brother published with a micro-machine, and later began selling stories to his friends based on movies he had seen. The first of his stories to be independently published was I Was a Teenage Grave Robber, which was serialized over for issues of a fanzine, Comics Review, in 1965. That story was published the following year in a revised form as In a Half World of Terror in another fanzine, Source of Suspense, edited by Mary Wolfman. As a teen, King also won a Scholastic Art and Writing Award. From 1966, King studied at the University of Maine, graduated in 1970 with a Bachelor of Arts in English. That year, his daughter, Naomi Rachel, was born. He wrote a column, Steve King's Scarborough Rock, for the student newspaper, the main campus, and participated in a writing workshop organized by Burton Helton. King held a variety of jobs to pay his studies, including janitor, gas camp attendant, and worker at industrial laundry. King met his wife, fellow student Tabitha Surprise, at the university's Fugler Library after one of Professor Alton's workshop. They met in 1971. Career beginnings. King sold his first professional short story, The Glass Floor, to Sterling My Story Stories in 1967. After graduating from the University of Maine, King earned a certificate to teach high school, but unable to find a teaching post immediately, he initially supplemented his laboring wage by selling short stories to men's magazines such as Cavalier. Many of these early stories have been republished in the collection Night Shift. This short story draft was published in Adam Emmons magazine after being arrested for stealing traffic cones. He was fined $250 for petty larceny, but had no money to pay. However, a check then arrived for the draft then entitled The Float, and King cashed its pay to fine. In 1971, King was hired as a teacher at Hamden Academy in Maine. He continued to contribute short stories to magazine and work on ideas for novels. During 1966-1970 to 1970, he wrote a draft about his dystopian novel called The Long Walk and the anti-war novel Sword in the Darkness, but neither of the works was published at the time. Only The Long Walk was later released in 1979. King writings, collaborations. King has written two novels with horror novelist Peter Straub, The Talisman, 1984, and a sequel, Black House 2001. King has indicated that he and Straub will likely write the third and concluding book in this series, The Tale of Jack Sawyer, but has not set no deadline for its completion. Yes, dear YouTube video friends and viewers, in this video I talk about Stephen King. He has many awards. First awards, Alex Awards 2009, Lifetime, audiobooks also he has. Last 2018, Elevation, read by Stephen King. 2000, On Writing a Memory of the Craft. 2004, Selm's Lot Introduction. 2005, Audible. 2016, Desperation. Yes, in this video I talk about Stephen King. Thank you very much. Subscribe to my channel, let you know my new videos.